Samsung S5L 8900. The original iPhone ran on the Samsung S5L 8900, a single-core ARM11 chip clocked at just 412 MHz. By today's standards, that's laughably slow, but back in 2007, it felt like magic. You could swipe, pinch, and zoom on a touchscreen that actually responded. No stylus, no physical keyboard, just your finger and a screen that understood what you wanted. Built on a 90nm process with a PowerVR MBX Lite GPU, it handled basic 3D graphics smoothly. The iPhone had only 128 MB of RAM, so iOS was designed for lightweight, efficient apps from the start. Even with modest specs, the phone felt revolutionary. Samsung S5L 8920. The iPhone 3GS brought the Samsung S5L 8920, an ARM Cortex-A8 at 600 MHz with a PowerVR SGX 535 GPU. The jump in speed was immediately noticeable. Apps opened faster, web pages loaded more smoothly, and video playback felt snappier. The 65nm process kept battery life in check despite the higher clock speed. RAM doubled to 256 megabits, and the chip enabled real-time camera processing for the first time. The 3-megapixel camera could record video with autofocus and basic image processing on the fly. By 2009 standards, it was a solid step up, faster, smoother, and way more capable. Then came the turning point, Apple A4. The iPhone 4 was the first to run on Apple's own chip. This wasn't just another spec bump. This was Apple taking full control. The A4 featured a single-core ARM Cortex-A8 at 1 GHz with a PowerVR SGX 535 GPU. But the real story was what designing its own chip allowed Apple to do. They could fine-tune performance and efficiency specifically for iOS, creating tighter integration than any competitor could match. Built on a 45nm process, the A4 powered the iPhone 4's stunning Retina display without draining the battery. With 512 megabits of RAM, it could handle multitasking and heavier apps comfortably while keeping the phone cool to the touch. The A4 proved Apple could design world-class chips, and once they had that capability, there was no going back. Apple A5. The iPhone 4S marked another major leap. Apple's first dual-core iPhone, powered by the A5 chip with a dual-core ARM Cortex-A9 at 800 MHz and dual-core PowerVR SGX 543 MP2 GPU. Moving to 2 cores made a massive difference. Apps launched faster, multitasking felt smoother, and graphics-heavy tasks ran more fluidly. Games ran at higher frame rates, and for the first time, the iPhone felt like a true mobile gaming device, not just a phone that could play games. The A5 turned the iPhone into a powerhouse that could actually compete with dedicated gaming handhelds of the era. Apple A6. With the iPhone 5, Apple went fully independent. The A6 was Apple's first completely custom CPU design, codenamed Swift. A dual-core processor at 1.3 GHz paired with a triple-core PowerVR SGX 543 MP3 GPU. Built on a 32nm process, Apple doubled the RAM to 1 GB, making multitasking and complex apps run far more smoothly. The extra GPU core meant games and animations ran at higher frame rates, crucial for the taller 4-inch display. Apple was no longer just modifying existing chip designs. They were building their own from the ground up. Apple A7. The A7 powered the iPhone 5S in 2013 and represented a seismic shift in mobile computing. It was the first 64-bit processor in any smartphone, a move so bold that even Android manufacturers were caught off guard. It featured a dual-core CPU based on Apple's custom Cyclone architecture at 1.3 GHz and a PowerVR G6430 GPU. Built on a 28nm process, it delivered massive performance improvements while future-proofing the system for increasingly complex apps. The A7 also introduced the M7 Motion coprocessor, handling accelerometer, gyroscope, and compass data without engaging the main CPU. This enabled step counting, fitness tracking, and motion-based features to run efficiently, preserving battery life. Apps could handle way more data, games got smoother, and your phone was suddenly future-proofed for years. Apple A8. The A8, powered by the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus in 2014, built on a 20nm process with a dual-core CPU at 1.4 GHz and PowerVR GX 6450 GPU. The chip delivered better performance while using less power, essential for the larger iPhone 6 Plus with its bigger screen. It enabled advanced visual effects like parallax and motion in iOS 8, and enhanced camera features like better HDR and faster autofocus. The A8 proved that bigger screens didn't have to mean worse battery life. Apple A9. This chip powered the iPhone 6s, 6s Plus, and the first-gen iPhone SE, and it hit differently. Here's the headline: 70% faster CPU and 90% faster graphics compared to the A8. That's not marketing exaggeration. The jump was massive. But the real milestone? 3D touch and live photos. The A9 made pressure-sensitive interaction possible. Pressing the screen triggered shortcuts and previews. It didn't last forever, but at the time, it made the iPhone feel futuristic. Live photos turned every picture into a tiny animated memory, and second-gen Touch ID became noticeably faster. Unlocking your phone suddenly felt instant. The A9 proved a phone could deliver laptop-like responsiveness without draining your battery dead by noon. Apple A10 Fusion. This chip powered the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus, and it marked a turning point in how Apple thought about performance. For the first time, the iPhone had a hybrid setup: 2 powerful cores for heavy tasks, and 2 efficiency cores for everyday things. You got raw speed when you needed it and long battery life when you didn't. Today, that's normal, but back in 2016, this was revolutionary. The result? Around 40% faster CPU performance, 50% faster graphics, and noticeably better efficiency. It powered portrait mode on the iPhone 7 Plus with real-time depth processing and introduced louder stereo speakers. And yeah, this was also the moment Apple removed the headphone jack. Love it or hate it, the A10 helped enable lower latency Bluetooth performance and better wireless codec support, making AirPods actually viable for everyday use. Apple wasn't just removing a port, they were forcing the industry toward a wireless future. A11 Bionic. This chip powered the iPhone 8, 8 Plus, and the iPhone 10, the phone that officially changed everything. 6 cores, 2 powerful, 4 efficient. But the real secret? For the first time ever, Apple added a neural engine, basically giving the iPhone a tiny brain designed for AI. That one move unlocked Face ID. The A11 was mapping your face in 3D, learning you and adapting to changes. Hat on, beard growing, still works. Trying to unlock with a printed photo? Good luck. And those early Animoji, the dancing poop emoji that copied your face, that was all A11 flexing its real-time facial tracking. Paired with the iPhone 10, no home button, full screen gestures, OLED display, it felt like the future suddenly arrived in your hand. This chip took the iPhone from fast device to smart device. And once Apple flipped that switch, there was no going back. A12 Bionic. This chip arrived with the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR. And it was the moment the iPhone stopped just being fast and started feeling calmly powerful. The A12 was the first smartphone chip ever built on a 7nm process, bringing massive efficiency gains. The neural engine jumped to 8 cores, enabling real-time machine learning at scale. Smart HDR appeared. Depth control let you adjust background blur after taking pictures. And Face ID became faster. It didn't scream for attention, it just worked perfectly, all the time, even years later. Many people still say the XR and XS lineup aged better than almost any iPhone generation ever, and the A12 is the reason why. A13 Bionic. The A13 powered the iPhone 11 lineup and second-gen iPhone SE, and it arrived at a point where Apple chips weren't just catching up to computers anymore, they were starting to pass them. Built on an enhanced 7nm process with 2 performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, the A13 made the iPhone 11 last noticeably longer than previous generations despite being faster. The neural engine is where it really moved the needle. Night mode debuted because this chip could process multiple frames, align them, denoise them, and enhance detail, all instantly. Low-light photography went from unusable to genuinely impressive overnight. Combined with a significantly upgraded ISP, the A13 is why the iPhone 11 camera system became a turning point, especially for video quality. A14 Bionic. The A14 came with the iPhone 12 lineup and marked a major milestone. First smartphone chip built on a 5nm process. At launch, it wasn't just the fastest chip in a phone. It was ahead of many laptop processors too. And it arrived right when Apple was preparing to move Macs to its own silicon. In many ways, the A14 was the warm-up lap for Apple silicon in computers. The neural engine jumped from 8 cores to 16 cores, doubling machine learning performance. This chip also arrived with 5G support, and the A14's power management kept battery life reasonable during early 5G rollout. The A14 wasn't just a phone chip anymore. It was a preview of what Apple Silicon could do across their entire product line. A15 Bionic. The A15 powered the iPhone 13 lineup, later the iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, and the 3rd gen iPhone SE. By this point, Apple Silicon wasn't about trying to beat other chips. It was about extending the lead. Built on an enhanced 5nm process, the A15's efficiency cores became so good that the iPhone 13 lineup earned a reputation for lasting longer than almost any flagship phone at the time. Graphics took a split approach. Regular models got a 4-core GPU, while Pro models received a 5-core GPU that powered ProRes video recording and ProMotion's high refresh rate UI. The cinematic mode feature leveraged the A15's computational power, real-time depth mapping and focus transitions that mimicked professional cinema cameras, all processed on the fly. The A15 proved that refinement could be just as impressive as revolution. A16 Bionic. The A16 powered the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, moving to a 4nm process with a focus on efficiency and computational photography. The 6-core CPU delivered gains in sustained tasks rather than burst performance, while the 5-core GPU got wider memory bandwidth for ProMotion and high-resolution sensor data. The real story was the image signal processor working with the new 48-megapixel sensor and photonic engine. Low-light shots became dramatically cleaner and more detailed. Night mode became less necessary because the A16 could pull usable images from scenes that would have been too dark before. The A16 also supported the dynamic island, powering its constant animations and live interactions without draining battery. What made the A16 interesting was how it supported the shift to a more camera-driven, computational-assisted smartphone experience. A17 Pro. The A17 Pro powered the iPhone 15 Pro and 15 Pro Max, and it wasn't just another upgrade. It was the first iPhone chip to lean heavily into console-style graphics. Built on TSMC's 3nm process, it featured a completely redesigned 6-core GPU with hardware-accelerated ray tracing and mesh shading, features normally associated with modern consoles. This allowed games like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and Assassin's Creed Mirage to run natively on a phone. It wasn't perfect. Heat and battery drain existed under heavy loads, but it marked the first credible step toward handling console-level gaming on an iPhone. The A17 Pro also powered the new USB-C controller architecture, enabling faster wired transfers and external storage recording for ProRes workflows, aimed directly at video creators who wanted to shoot and edit professional content entirely on their iPhone. A18. The A18 powers the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus, building on the A17 generation with a focus on efficiency and AI performance. The 6-core CPU delivers smoother, sustained performance and better battery behavior. The 5-core GPU supports hardware-accelerated ray tracing and reinforces smoother camera preview and video stabilization. The neural engine is significantly faster, designed to handle more on-device machine learning tasks, especially Apple Intelligence features. Voice processing, photo enhancement, and text suggestions all happen with less delay. The A18 proves that not every chip generation needs to be a revolution. Sometimes steady refinement matters more than raw speed. A18 Pro. The A18 Pro powers the iPhone 16 Pro and 16 Pro Max, built on the same second-generation 3nm process but pushed harder. The 6-core GPU features higher clocks, wider bandwidth, and better thermal behavior. Hardware-accelerated ray tracing and mesh shading return with refined workload scheduling for steadier frame rates. The neural engine sees the biggest generational shift. Built to handle heavier on-device AI tasks like generating text and images, real-time transcription, and language operations without depending on cloud servers. You feel the improvement in small places: smoother background ML tasks, faster photo processing, and quicker system-wide suggestions. A19. The A19 powers the iPhone 17, continuing Apple's strategy of refining efficiency and sustained performance. The 6-core chip handles heavy workloads over time without throttling due to heat. The 5-core GPU benefits from higher bandwidth and better scheduling, improving graphics performance and thermal stability while supporting ray tracing and mesh shading. The 16-core neural engine is faster than previous generations, supporting on-device AI tasks like predictive text, live translation, and computational photography more smoothly without draining battery. A19 Pro. The A19 Pro powers the iPhone 17 Pro, 17 Pro Max, and iPhone Air, building on everything Apple has learned about high-performance mobile chips. Clocks are slightly higher with tuned thermal management, allowing peak performance for longer under heavy loads. The 6-core GPU features improved scheduling and memory bandwidth for console-level mobile gaming and AR applications. The neural engine is optimized for heavier on-device AI tasks, real-time language translation, advanced photo and video processing, and live voice processing all happen efficiently without cloud reliance. The A19 Pro represents the pinnacle of Apple's current chip design philosophy: maximum performance, maximum efficiency, and maximum intelligence all working together seamlessly. From a single-core chip that could barely run a web browser to chips that rival laptop processors, Apple's come a long way. But here's the thing, they're not slowing down. The A19 Pro is already faster than most laptops, and Apple's just getting started. So the real question isn't how far we've come, it's how far can this thing actually go? Now here's the thing, YouTube is recommending a video for you right there on screen. Based on what you just watched, it thinks you'll find it useful. Click it, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next one.